6 steps to creating your future. Today we're talking about vision boards and my 6-step process to actually creating that board. What are vision boards? Vision boards physically speak to our subconscious. Vision boards are images, pictures, some words that describe what our goals and aspirations are. We take that, we put it on a board, and then we display that board on a wall, on our phone, different places, so that it can speak directly to our subconscious. Our subconscious is responsible for, depending on who you talk to, 95 to 99% of our behaviors, of our decisions, of our emotions. Everything really is rooted in the subconscious. And the subconscious was created primarily in the years 0 to 7. So when you're stuck, when you're like, why am I on this hamster wheel? What's going on here? I don't understand. I know I have to eat better, but I always go to the potato chips. When you're on that wheel of being stuck, I always describe it as a fly buzzing around and bouncing into the wall, and all he has to do is just move a little bit over to the side and he'll be able to go through the window. When you're stuck like that, it's because you're playing a certain program that was imprinted on you probably somewhere between the years of 0 to 7. And you don't even realize that it was done. How much do you actually remember from your childhood? And the older you get, it's kind of the less you remember from back then. So how do we reprogram that subconscious to look at different files? That imprint that we had, those beliefs that were imprinted on us, how do we change that? This is one of the ways that we can change that. This is one of the ways of rewiring your subconscious so that you're rewiring your thoughts, creating different emotions so that you can actually get behind, make that the wind in the sails that carry you off to success. Vision boards kind of act like a beacon for your subconscious also. It activates your RAS, your reticular activating system. And the benefit to that is your RAS is when you all of a sudden start seeing things out there. They just kind of just appear, right? When I first was introduced to my RAS, I didn't even realize that I was a police officer down in Brooklyn, New York, and we had a robbery suspect. The description came over, male wearing an orange jacket. That was it. That's what we had. Male wearing an orange jacket. This is going to be easy. I looked at my phone and I'm like, we're making a collar tonight. A collar's an arrest, by the way. We're making a collar tonight. And we drove around and we stopped no less than a dozen individuals that were all wearing an orange top, an orange t-shirt, sweatshirt, jacket, whatever it may be. The point being, how many people wear orange? It's like, dude, I've never seen so many people with an orange top. What happened was, when that description came over, our RAS was activated. And we were told that this is extremely important. So when we were scanning everybody that was walking down the sidewalks and through the park and coming out of storefronts, we didn't see anybody that had a different color on. So that orange was just popping out. This happens a lot when females buy a new handbag, right? Or they're talking about like a Coach bag or something. They see Coach handbags all over the place. The red car, that's a typical example that's given. You don't see red cars, and then all of a sudden, or a type of car, right? Like I'm buying a pickup truck or a Honda Civic or a Tesla or whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden they start popping up all over the place. That's your RAS, your reticular activating system. So the vision board speaks directly to that. That's another benefit of the vision board. So how do we create the vision board? What are those 6 steps? The first step is create your goals. You have to know where you're going in order to create the vision, right? The vision is the map, but you have to kind of know where you're going. Create your goals. If you go back in my feed, I've done 2. If you go back in the feed, I'll pop them up here, right? The two videos I'll pop up here. But I want you to go back and I want you to watch Balance Wheels. This talks about your individual gardens in life, and you rate yourself on your how you feel in that garden, and then you can decide whether you want to make that garden a priority or not. This is kind of the first step to setting a goal, is you have to know where you want that improvement. You have to know where you want to set that goal. This helps you do that. And then if you scroll further back, I have the thumbnail looks like a whole bunch of small squares, and it's called Fast Cars. That's my acronym for physically writing and setting the goals. CARS stands for the attributes that you need to execute on those goals. So go back. I encourage you to go back and watch those 2 videos so that you can set really strong goals. But you're going to have your goal, whatever your goal may be. The things that you want to achieve or improve or add value to society, whatever those goals are. Then you're going to go out and you're going to collect. Step 2 is to go out and collect pictures of those things. The more emotional those pictures are, the better it is for you. So what do I mean by emotional? For example, this is the first, I don't know if you can see this. This is the first vision board I ever did. I'll tell you a story about that at the end, but this is the first vision board I ever did. This multifamily property down here was the physical property that I was going after. Now, I didn't end up buying that property, but every time I looked at that vision board, every time I saw that property, I was like, I actually stood, I went and I took that picture. I actually stood on that property and I envisioned myself in how I was going to flip that property, right? Like rehab the property, bring it up to market value, all of that stuff you talk about in real estate. All of that deferred maintenance, I was there. I felt it in my bones. I wanted that property so bad. I made the phone calls. It just didn't happen, right? But I did buy a property 3 blocks away from them because my RAS was so high. I was in it. I felt it in my soul. So when you're collecting pictures, try and collect the actual picture of what you want, as opposed to a generic picture. It just adds more of that emotional state. If you want to live in a big blue colonial house, go out there and find a big blue colonial house, take a picture of it, and go visit it. Like, walk past it if you can. The more emotion you can tie to those pictures, the more it's going to speak to your heart. And when it speaks to your heart, it's going to activate your subconscious. Use quotes and find motivational words, like quotes. So I like quotes. I think that quotes that you actually create are a little bit better than the motivational quotes that are out there. I literally collect quotes. This is my quote book. So when I come across the quote that I like, I will write it down in this book so that I can reference it more often. That helps me because then I have to read. If I know a quote, I have to go back through my quote book and I got to read all the other quotes to find the quote that I'm looking for. And it just kind of puts me on a good wheel, right? Because I'm reading all of these inspirational quotes. Let's say you have money. Money's always a big one, right? So maybe you have the belief that money's the root of all evil. Maybe you have the belief that you never have enough money and it's something that you want to improve. Create a quote for yourself that says, money's infinite, right? And if you don't necessarily believe that money's infinite, I want you to go out there and do the research. There's over $2 trillion floating around us every day that we can go out there and grab. How do you grab it? providing value, and helping people get what they want. If you help people get what they want, if you help enough people get what they want, then you'll always have everything you need. A good, The Go-Giver is a great book to read that kind of delves into that a little bit. Anyway, create the quotes that are going to resonate with you. So those quotes can be from external sources, but if you can create the quotes yourself, if you can create the statements yourself, it makes it a little bit more emotional. Number 4, use words that you find motivational. So these are just one word things, right? We live by results over excuses. That would be words that I may put on my vision board. Things along those lines. My mantra, not on my watch, right? I may put that on my vision board because that invokes a lot of emotion and it's very motivational for me. All of these words, this is kind of like a big vision board for me. All of these signs mean something to me. Even though they're kind of generic stories, they mean something to me. They invoke motivation for me. Cut and paste what you find on the board. That's pretty simple. But let's talk about the layout of the board, right? You have this board down here that was created, and it's a whole bunch of clippings, and it overlaps and everything. It's kind of messy and disorganized. Our mind likes structure. Our mind likes routine. Our mind likes more of that grid layout. I want you to think about times that you've seen grids, whether it was a map from above looking down on a city and everything was laid out in a grid. If it was a photo on the wall, like a calendar is a great grid. Like when you see that, does it bring you a little bit of calmness? Like pay attention to how you feel when you see that. Most people resonate more with a grid layout. I suggest that you lay out, if that's you, lay out the vision board in more of that grid or that organizational way. If you like stuff laying on top of each other, if that works for you, then do it. You do what works for you. I'm giving you kind of what works as a whole for most people. But that grid layout brings calmness because you can easily pull things out from it. The other thing is, if you don't like grid, try doing it by category, right? When you go back to that balance wheel I was talking about, what areas of life? So I'm going to have aspirations in my family relationship area. I'm going to have aspirations in my finance area. I'm going to have aspirations in my fun and leisure area. Whatever you create your big priorities out of, your aspirations and your goals are going to land in certain areas. Maybe you lay out your vision board like that, right? Just picture a vision board. Picture this being the vision board, and kind of this section over here is finances. And then down here, you do fun and leisure if that's your thing. Over here, maybe you do your personal development. And right in the middle, I always do something really big right in the middle that ties all of this together. That's another thing. You could do a mind map vision board. I've seen that. Mind map vision boards work very well. But I like putting something in here. So a lot of times it's one word that means a lot. So for me, I do a lot of things just like most people do for family. So I'll put family in the middle of my board. And then everything ties into that. Because when I see family, it really hits me hard. It's that emotional hit. Oh, my family, let me take care of them. Let me see all of these pieces that tie into family. And now, display the board somewhere that you're actually going to see it. We're not going to do all of this work and then create the board. So let's talk about the size of the board. When I first did my first vision board, it was on a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper. I just took a couple of peaches. My first vision board was how I proved to myself that vision boards actually work. I joined a mastermind, and I'm thinking I'm going to show up to this mastermind with this millionaire, and he's going to give me a peek behind the curtains and tell me the secrets, and all of a sudden I'm going to be a millionaire. And the first activity he has us do is a vision board. He's like, yeah, we're going to talk about vision boards tonight. And I'm like, an arts and crafts project? Are you kidding me? I paid all this money to be in a mastermind, and you're going to have me do an arts and crafts project? This is like, I can go to the preschool and do arts and crafts. Then I had a pause. I paused, right? I felt that anger. I felt that fear, that uncomfortableness. And I'm like, hold on a second. I actually came to this individual that is successful, and I asked him for advice. That's what I literally did when I joined the mastermind, right? You're asking somebody to pave the way for you, and so that you can follow. Success leaves clues. I can follow in your footsteps. And this is what he's asking me to do. Who am I not to do it? And thank God I did it, because it actually worked. I only had, so this is the original vision board, by the way, up here. I don't know if you can see it, but 1, 2, 3, 4. I only had 4 things on my vision board. I hit 3 of them. And I was working at trying to hit those for a couple of years prior. Amazing. And the one I didn't hit was buying a waterfront property down south. And I'm just not ready to make that leap yet. I like where I am. So, displaying your vision board should be as large as you can make it. You could do an 8.5 by 11 on a sheet of paper. That still works. But if you make it bigger, it's going to, again, invoke more emotion. You're gonna feel it more. It's gonna radiate more at you. It's really that emotion that we're going after. It's not the images or the goals per se. It's that emotion that is conjured up. It's that emotion that puts that imprint in our subconscious. And then through that imprint is how we launch off and get shit done. We stop saying what if and we get shit done. So that's the true purpose of the vision board, is to invoke that emotion. The images speak to the subconscious very quickly, so that we start imprinting that over and over and over. Every time I walk into my office, I see the vision board. I realize that those images are important to me. And I'm going to go, without even realizing, I'm going to go and I'm going to do things that actually help me achieve those images, those goals that I put on the vision board. Where do we display the vision board? So this is my favorite place to display a vision board, believe it or not, is the bedroom. That sounds like really strange, but if you understand the science behind the comment, it'll make more sense. We have different we have different brain waves. Those waves, the wave that I'm looking for is theta. And when we activate that happens just as we're very relaxed state, and just as when we're going off into sleep, and just when we're coming out of sleep. We're kind of like dazed. That's a very, very good spot to imprint on the subconscious. So when I am falling off to sleep, if I'm gazing at the vision board, or if I wake up and I'm gazing at the vision board, in that moment of those brain waves, our subconscious is very susceptible to that input. We're slipping one past the goalie, right? The subconscious only wants to read the files that it has. It doesn't like crossing stuff out and making new lines and new rules. This is a way of slipping one past the goalie. Another place, I like keeping a vision board in my office because then I can sit at my desk, put my feet up, and start daydreaming. Daydreaming's a good way. Like, we used to always get yelled at for daydreaming, right? Remember sitting in the classroom, like, gazing out the window and, like, just not being in the classroom like we were somewhere else? That's theta. And that's a great way of imprinting on the subconscious. So if I'm daydreaming, glazing at that vision board, and I'm there and I'm like, kind of like that loopy feeling you get, like when you're not in the room, like you're somewhere else. I'm imprinting those images on my subconscious. And then my subconscious is going to help me go out there and find ways of achieving those images. Vision boards are very, very powerful if we use them. We can't create a vision board and then stick it in the corner and never look at it again. We can't say we're going to do a vision board and do it half backwards. Like, implementing these 6 steps, putting vision boards where we're going to see them, making copies of your vision boards so that they're in 2 or 3 different locations, putting them on, some people put them on your phone, right? The phone background. That's kind of, I'm for that. The science isn't there yet, but I'm for that because it's, when I look at my phone, I'm really not concentrating on that background image, but it's still being presented to me. So I like it from that perspective. There's no science that says that actually works, but all the other science says that it could work. So vision boards are extremely powerful. Do them, think about them, and the 6 steps. We're just going to review the 6 steps real quick. Have your goals. Know what your goals are. Collect pictures. Put those pictures on the vision board. Try and do it in a grid section or a category section. Use quotes that you have actually created. So, what are your top 3 limiting beliefs? And then turn that limiting belief, money's not enough. There is plenty of money, would be the quote for that. So turn that on its head. Motivational words, something that's going to invoke emotion, family, results over excuses. My mantra, not on my watch, that always invokes emotion into me. Put those on your vision board. And then display your vision board in a prominent area. Guys, one of the best tips I ever got was to create a vision board, and I thought that guy was out of his mind. But I've hit somewhere between 70 and 90% of my vision board each and every year. This is the last thing I'm going to say about vision boards, because this is really important also. Really important. Some people believe vision boards don't work because you're setting big, monstrous goals. Let's pretend that the goal is to have a $5 million house with a helipad on the ocean with horses running all over the place. That's not going to happen in a year. It could, but chances are it's not going to happen in a year. So now you're looking at this vision of this monstrous, beautiful property, but it doesn't happen. And then it doesn't happen in year 2. It doesn't happen in year 3. Your vision board can have that, absolutely. Start working on it now, but realize that it's not going to happen immediately. So, what I do is I put things on there that some of the things, I put at least 2 things on my vision board that's a give me. Like, I just know, like, maybe it's finish writing my book. But in all honesty, all I have to do is write the conclusion and send it off. That's a give me, right? Maybe if you're in the martial arts world, it's to achieve a certain rank, but you're practically already there. Maybe it's to graduate college. I'm going to graduate college with my bachelor's degree. And when you put that on your vision board, right, the ceremony or the diploma or whatever, you're doing that in January and you're going to graduate in June. Like it's practically a give me. Put some of those on there. It hits you. Oh, this actually works. Oh, this can work. I'm going to do this. That, look, I physically have proof that I did the things, and start checking those things off. Put big things on your vision board, but know that those big things are the 5-year things. So for 5 years it'll go on my vision board, and that's okay. But also have those things that are give me's to build the momentum to teach your subconscious that this actually works. And then put those stretch things on there. Those stretch things are what the vision board's really for. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Start the conversation with me. Go out there, use these 6 steps to create your vision board. You know, when we're here, we always believe in living up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. Go out there, be unstoppable, and crush your day.